My twin sister, Audrey Goodwin, was obsessed with romance novels about rich heirs. All she wanted was to marry into money and live like some perfect socialite. She set her sights on the silver spoon scion in Jeselton, Michael Strickland, who'd been blind after a car accident. Audrey got close by becoming his private nurse, but she got tired of the work really quickly, so she asked me to cover for her. When Michael finally got his eyesight back and held a huge celebration, Audrey decided to drug him so she could slide right into the role of Mrs. Strickland. I didn't stop her this time. I even went as far as booking her a luxury suite so she could carry out her plan in my last life. I had begged Audrey not to go through with it. I told her romance novels weren't real life, and guys like Michael were way too powerful to mess with. She had actually listened and cancelled the plan, but a little while later, the news broke. Michael secretly got married. It turned out that he'd been with someone else that very night. Just like that, Audrey's big fantasy was gone. She blamed me for ruining her dream. My parents blamed me as well. They beat me and yelled at me, saying Audrey couldn't marry Michael now because of me. One night, Audrey snapped. She came into my room with a hammer and beat me to death. Now, I had been given another chance. I woke up right on the night of Michael's recovery party since he's better now. You don't have to pretend to be me anymore. My twin sister, Audrey Goodwin, stood in front of me, her lips curled into a smug smile as she held a tiny pink pill bottle, acting as if it were a treasure. This stuff's amazing. It took me a lot of effort to get it, but if I just slip a pill into his drink, I'll become Mrs. Strickland in no time. She looked so pleased, as if she had succeeded in her plan to sleep with Michael Strickland, the most wanted rich heir in Jeselton. She was already picturing herself living the high life as his wife. I stayed calm. I didn't try to talk her out of it like I had in my past life. Okay, I said lightly, good luck. But Audrey wasn't letting me off that easily. She grabbed my arm and leaned in close, whispering, don't forget, you've been pretending to be me for a whole year. There's so much I don't know about him and the people in his circle. Until I reach my goal, you're sticking by my side. Then she tossed me a pair of sunglasses and a mask. Cover your face. If anyone finds out the truth and ruins my plan, you're dead. I just gave her a little smile. Got it. After a year of being Michael's caretaker, I knew the truth. He wasn't some clueless rich boy. As the heir to a wealthy family, he was sharp and ruthless. Audrey thought she could outsmart him, but she was walking straight into her own grave, and I wasn't gonna stand in her way. Audrey strutted toward him with that special glass of wine. Michael drank it without a second thought, and within minutes, his handsome face turned red, his body unsteady. Audrey, now back as his nurse, rushed to help him upstairs. I slipped her a hotel keycard on the way. I got you room 800. Her eyes lit up. Guess you're not totally useless. Once I'm Mrs. Strickland, I'll hook you up with a driver or a bodyguard that should keep you comfortable for life. Help me stand guard outside. Don't let anyone ruin this. If I fail, I'll make sure mom and dad tear you apart. I didn't argue. I just followed upstairs, then quietly stood across the hall instead of by her door. Minutes later, there was a loud thud from inside, then the door swung open, and Michael stumbled out. Michael's breathing was rough, his whole face tight with anger. He looked as if he was about to explode. Meanwhile, Audrey was sprawled on the floor, knocked out cold with a bleeding cut on her head. I knew it. I knew there was no way she'd ever be able to pull this off. She only got a beating now, but when Michael sobered up, who knew if she'd even live to see another day? I let out a slow breath and turned to leave quietly when suddenly, someone grabbed my wrist. The next second, Michael yanked me into the room next door. I still had on a mask. My eyes, wide with fear, met his. The hotel lights were dim, stretching shadows across the walls. He pinned me against one, his voice low and hoarse. Your scent, your figure, they feel so familiar. Do I know you? I froze. No way could I answer him. We'd spent a whole year together. If I spoke, he'd know it was me. I couldn't let anything happen between us. If I did, I'd end up just like Audrey. I fought to break free, but even when Michael was drugged, he was still way stronger than I was. I didn't stand a chance. I opened my mouth, ready to scream for help, when he leaned down suddenly, whispering, your eyes, they're beautiful. I went stiff. For a second, I thought he'd recognized me. Then, he ripped off my mask and kissed me. Panic shot through me. I quickly switched off the lights, but after that, there was no chance to escape. Hours blurred together. 5, maybe 6. By the time it was deep into the night, Michael finally let go, his strength fading. Every part of my body hurt, but I forced myself up and put my clothes back on. I wasn't like Audrey, living in some fairy tale, believing a rich man would fall for a nobody like her. I wasn't about to get myself caught in a mess I couldn't climb out of, so while he slept, I slipped out. I didn't hesitate or look back. I would just pretend that nothing had happened. But the second I stepped out, I saw a heavy-set, greasy-looking man stumbling out of the next room. When he spotted me, he let out a low whistle. I looked past him into the room. Clothes were scattered everywhere, and Audrey was on the bed, her dress torn, completely out cold. As I recalled how she had murdered me in my past life, I just shut the door quietly and walked away. When I got home, my parents rushed to greet me, both carrying plates piled with food, their faces glowing with joy. Audrey, darling, you're finally back. But then their smiles froze. Aurora, why are you here? Where's Audrey? Didn't we tell you? You're supposed to stay by her side and protect her. Make sure it all goes according to plan. I stared at them, amazed at how deep their favoritism ran. If Audrey and I didn't look exactly alike, I'd really believe I was adopted. My face stayed cold as I walked past them. I'm just here to pack my stuff. I'm moving out. My mother's face twisted, ugly with anger. What the hell are you talking about? How are you gonna afford rent? As I folded clothes into my bag, I spoke slowly, almost calmly. If Audrey really ends up marrying Michael, his family will come to visit. What if they saw me and figured it all out? But I can stay if you want. The moment they realized my being around could ruin Audrey's chances, their attitude flipped. They quickly chased me out. Get out. You're bad luck anyway. I wouldn't want you ruining a good thing for Audrey and bringing our family down with you. By the time I was headed downstairs with my bags, I ran into Audrey, hobbling through the door. Her clothes were ripped, as if someone had yanked them apart. Bruises covered her arms and legs, but her face was practically glowing. Mom, Dad, she said proudly, Michael wore me out, but I think it's done. We're good now. I could tell by her smirk that she had no idea what really happened after she got knocked out. She thought she'd had some kind of steamy, hot lovemaking session with Michael. Well, I couldn't wait to see the grin being wiped from her face when the truth came crashing down. Audrey glanced at me with with that same smug look, then noticed the suitcase in my hand. Her lips curled into a cold little smile. Are you leaving? She asked, her voice dripping with fake sweetness. My wedding's pretty much set, but you're not getting any younger, and there's still no ring on your finger. I don't want you spending the rest of your life alone. Her eyes lit up suddenly, and she clapped her hands together. How about this? I'll introduce you to someone. No, thanks, I said flatly, her eyes filled with fake tears instantly. She turned to our parents, whining as if she'd been wronged even though Mr. Strickland and I have done the deed. I hope we'll organize a grand wedding, so people won't look down on me. I found Aurora a match. The guy's willing to give us $200,000 as a wedding gift. The moment my mother heard that number, her eyes lit up, but when she saw I wasn't excited, she slapped me across the face hard, then she jabbed a finger in my face. Since when do you get to talk back in this house? She snapped. This marriage is perfect for you. As your parents, we get to decide. You'll meet him, marry him, and bring that money home so your sister's wedding doesn't look shabby. I laughed, but there was no humor in it, just pure anger bubbling up. I couldn't believe they were forcing me to marry a stranger for this. I snapped. She wants to marry rich. What's that got to do with me? Do you even know who the guy is? It's Mr. Meyer, a 60-year-old man. If you're that desperate for the money, why don't you divorce dad and marry him yourself? Oh, wait, you don't want to? Then don't shove me into hell just because you're too scared to go. My father's face turned red, and before I knew it, he slapped me twice. My cheek burned like fire. Aurora, how dare you talk to us like that? He roared. What's so bad about Mr. Meyer? He's a small business owner. You'd be living in comfort. Do you actually think we'd hurt you? You're the one who couldn't catch a rich man, and now you've got the nerve to argue with your mother. Look at yourself. You're worthless. You don't bring a damn thing to this family. This house isn't a charity. If you don't want Mr. Meyer, fine, go find some other man willing to give away 200 grand for you. Otherwise, shut up and do as you're told. My cheek was swollen, stinging with every breath. I stared at my parents, baffled by how shamelessly biased and